Before we get into today's edition of Just the Truth, Mike Lindell sent me a note yesterday. He has a special for the 6-piece towel set, $25 when you use promo code Joey. Just go to mypillow.com, use promo code Joey. You'll get the $25 offer on the 6-piece towel set, and I promise you, these will be the most comfortable, the most absorbent towels that you own. mypillow.com, use promo code Joey. Get the 6-piece towel set for just $25. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. So how long will Kamala Harris's honeymoon last? Veteran GOP pollster Tony Fabrizio, who polls for the Trump campaign, predicted we would see a bump last Tuesday. I have all the details and some good news for you in that respect as well. Also, Facebook acknowledged that it mistakenly censored the iconic image of former President Donald Trump with his fist raised in the immediate aftermath of the July 13th assassination attempt in Pennsylvania. Wonder how many other mistakes they have made in censoring. The national debt surpassed $35 trillion yesterday for the first time in U.S. history as out-of-control federal spending continues under President Joe Biden. New text between members of the Beaver County Emergency Services in Pennsylvania showed just how understaffed they were ahead of the rally of former President Donald Trump earlier this month when the would-be assassin shot him and others, killing a spectator. And since the attempted assassination of President Trump in Pennsylvania, the U.S. Secret Service has been under a lot of scrutiny in just how they provide protection at public events. From the beginning, there's been questions on the role local agencies have played in Butler, Pennsylvania. South Carolina law enforcement agencies have told the state newspaper that they've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars assisting the Secret Service over the past year and a half due to presidential visits and other campaign-related visits.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
So how long will Kamala Harris's honeymoon last? Last week when all the enthusiasm was around the vice president as she took over the reins from President Joe Biden, I predicted, I cautioned you that she would probably see a bump in the polls. Well, she has. How long will it last? Who knows? Will it last? Who knows? We have to hope and pray that it does not last. Until Biden's announcement, Trump was consistently leading in all the national polls. Now it's back to a margin of error race for the White House, particularly in some of the key battleground states. Former President Trump saw his edge over Biden expand in the wake of last month's disastrous debate performance when Biden struggled to put sentences together. Calls grew louder from within his own party for the president to drop out. It appeared that Joe Biden was going to stubbornly stay in the race. So Americans were simply making a decision based on the old man who they had been convinced during the debate was not capable of serving for another 4 terms, questioning whether he's even capable of finishing the term that he's in now. However, in the 8 days since Joe Biden ended his reelection bid, and we learned that Vice President Kamala Harris had quickly consolidated party support, had garnered enough of the Democrat votes to apparently get the Democrat nod when they all convene in Chicago in a few weeks. Polls indicate that it's once again a neck-and-neck race. More importantly, it's all tied up again in the battleground states, which will likely decide the outcome of this 2024 election. Fox News polls conducted after Biden's announcement, this is in 3 of the 7 crucial states, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, indicate Trump and Harris are all tied up. Additionally, in Minnesota and New Hampshire, where Republicans have not won a presidential election in decades, but recent polls were showing that Trump was very competitive with Biden, the latest surveys indicate that Democrats have reestablished single-digit leads with Harris at the top of the ticket. Now, this was not a surprise. I kind of caution you to watch this. I suspected this was going to happen, and I wasn't the only one. This was not a surprise to the Trump campaign either, based on some reports yesterday. Maybe they listened to my show, you think? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they heard me making this prediction. Veteran GOP pollster Tony Fabrizio, maybe they were listening to Tony, who polls for the Trump campaign, predicted it last Tuesday as he pointed to what he called the Harris honeymoon. Now, that's what I called it as well. Fabrizio wrote in a campaign memo to the Trump campaign leadership, "We will start to see public polling, particularly national public polls, where Harris is gaining on or even leading President Trump," he wrote. "The Democrats and the mainstream media will try and tout these polls as proof that the race has changed, but the fundamentals of the race stay the same," he writes. "The Democrats deposing one nominee for another does not change voters' discontent over the economy, does not change voters' discontent over inflation, over crime, particularly over the open border, housing costs, not to mention concern over 2 foreign wars." He predicted that before long, Harris's honeymoon will end and voters will refocus on her role as Biden's partner and co-pilot. As importantly, voters will also learn about Harris's dangerously liberal record before becoming Biden's partner. And he's right, because right now, even the Democrats, they're just excited about the fact that they have another choice other than Joe Biden, whom they had come to the realization that they were going to lose. So now they're quickly thinking, well, maybe we have a chance. Maybe Kamala will infuse some new blood. And with donors stepping up and giving money, with the Harris campaign talking about volunteers coming forward, there is some excitement on the Democrat side. But according to Fabrizio, while the public polls may change in the short run, he says she may consolidate a bit more to the Democrat base. Harris can't change who she is or what she has done. And he's right. Now, veteran Democrat pollster Chris Anderson says it's too soon to make any predictions. We'll see. I agree with Tony Fabrizio. When the American people really start drilling down on Harris and they really start focusing on her, before she was just sort of an afterthought with Joe Biden. Now we're going to really focus on her and what she's done, and it's not a pretty sight. There's nothing pretty about Kamala Harris's record with Joe Biden and even before Joe Biden, particularly before Joe Biden. Joe Biden, it can be argued, has actually tempered her beliefs, or maybe she's just hidden some of her liberal beliefs as a surrogate for Joe Biden. But when the American people start looking at the race realistically and judging based on how their lives have changed, they're going to look at issues that are important to them. Things like the economy. And this is certainly not good for Kamala Harris. When we get news like we did yesterday, that the national debt surpassed $35 trillion yesterday for the first time in the history of our country because of the runaway federal spending under President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, I got to believe that the American people are going to hold her responsible as well. Here's what we know. Since Biden was inaugurated, the national debt has increased by over $7 trillion, from $27.7 trillion on January 20th of 2021 to now over $35 trillion. If the debt were to be divided among roughly 258.3 million adults in the U.S., each adult would have roughly $135,500. Now let that sink in for a minute. In addition to your mortgage, in addition to that car payment, in addition to maybe a Visa credit card that you haven't paid off completely, you owe another $135,500. Uncle Sam wants his money. When is this debt going to be called in? Peter Earle, senior economist at the American Institute for Economic Research, told the Daily Caller News Foundation the way in which the United States government was able to become so crippling indebted reminds the old adage about how one goes bankrupt. At first, very slowly, and then very quickly. And boy, have we started going bankrupt very quickly when it comes to the way Joe Biden and Kamala Harris has spent our federal tax dollars in these recent years. In just this short period of time, Joe Biden has broken a record. And it's not one that we should be proud of. It's one that's going to cost all of us dearly. Hope you'll join the conversation today. 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Send your comments to the Furman Ford text line. You can leave a quick voice message, and your emails are always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. I was talking to a good friend the other day, and he mentioned that he has started taking the weight loss injection drug that was initially made to treat type 2 diabetes. He said he's losing weight, but the day after he takes the injection, he is so sick he can't leave the house. That got me thinking. Most of us go on a weight loss journey so that we can feel better and get healthy. Folks, losing weight should not make you sick. I can tell you firsthand, 4 years ago when I started PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition, I was never hungry or agitated. I never felt sick. In fact, I felt great the very first week. The PhD side effects are better sleep, more energy, smaller clothes, and a general sense of well-being. Getting healthy should not make you sick, and it shouldn't make you dependent on a drug either. Simply put, PhD is freedom. You will not be dependent on a drug because there are no drugs. You'll learn to eat for your body, and you won't gain the weight back. They have a lifetime maintenance program, and PhD teaches you to trust yourself and your knowledge. Call them today, 864-252-4925. Find them online at myphdweightloss.com. That's 864-252-4925. Yesterday, we talked about Google and how they were interrupting how you can search for information on the assassination attempt of Donald Trump. Some of you actually emailed and text me comments challenging what I was saying. But again, if you do the search, they do not autofill like they typically do. I wasn't saying that you could not eventually get the information on the Trump assassination. It's just typically when you start typing a sentence in a Google search, it autofills it for you. It does not do that with the information on Donald Trump. So that was yesterday. Today, it's Facebook. Facebook has acknowledged that it mistakenly, keyword mistakenly, censored the iconic image of former President Donald Trump with his fist raised in the aftermath of the assassination attempt on his life on July the 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania. Mistakenly, they say. A post on Mark Zuckerberg's social media site by a user with the handle #wokeness that showed the Republican presidential candidate defiantly pumping his fist. It's that iconic photo that we've all seen since that attempt that day. It shows him with the white, with the blood streaming down his face. This had been initially flagged as misinformation, according to social media watchers. This person in wokeness had posted this on Mark Zuckerberg's page. The user was threatened with being deplatformed by Facebook initially. However, yesterday, Danny Lever, a spokesperson for the social media network's parent company, Meta, admitted that the tech giant had made a mistake, that they should not have done this. Lever wrote on X in response to conservative influencer Charlie Kirk, my friend and colleague Charlie Kirk, who had called out Facebook for not allowing users to share the photo, said, yes, this was an error. He went on to say this fact check was initially applied to a doctored photo showing the Secret Service agent smiling, and in some cases, our systems incorrectly applied that fact check to the real photo, he said in his explanation. Lever added that this has been fixed, and we apologize for the mistake. Now, wonder how many other things they have censored that they've not been called out on by someone like Charlie Kirk and others, and it goes undetected. Have you ever suspected that some of your Facebook posts have been restrained? That your friends aren't seeing them? I do sometimes. Sometimes I think, well, did I even post that? Because I get no response. I don't get any likes. I don't get any comments. Some of the things politically that I think will get a response don't. Is it Facebook censoring what I post? I have sometimes had Facebook put disclaimers under. And I've tried, sometimes I will spend some money on Facebook ads, and I've had Facebook deny ads because it was a politically motivated ad, according to them. The Meta spokesperson's clarification, of course, did not sit well with many users on X, Elon Musk's platform that allows free speech. One wrote, "Funny that the eras only ever go in one direction. Just coincidence, I guess." And he's right. I don't know that I've ever heard of a liberal post being called out. Maybe liberals don't post on Facebook. I don't know. Have you ever heard of a liberal post being called out? If you have, I'd love to get the example. Text it to me. Email it to me, joe@joeyhudson.com. Another ex-user wrote, "No one believes you." Another ex-user, "Nope, not buying it anymore." Meta has lost any credibility when it comes to whether or not they allow free speech on their site because of things like this. Meta has come under fire, particularly from Trump supporters, after its AI chatbot, Meta AI, referred to the attempted assassination as fictional when prompted to provide details about this event. Ex-users sympathetic to Trump posted screenshots of Meta AI answers that were given in response to prompts about the attempted assassination on July 13th. In one instance, the bot got the date of the event wrong. In another, it answered the question correctly, but gave a terse reply with a prompt about Vice President Kamala Harris's presidential campaign, made it seem as if the tech giant was biased in favor of Democrats. Look, it's not, they don't have to make it seem as though. We know that they're biased, right? A Meta spokesperson told the New York Post, "We know people have been seeing incomplete, inconsistent, or out-of-date information on this topic. We're in the process of implementing a fix to provide more up-to-date responses for inquiries, and it's possible people may continue to see inaccurate responses in the meantime." Yeah, that's an excuse to say we're going to continue to censor you. So give us a little time here to fix our system. We're updating our system. We're trying to improve our system. Until then, we're going to continue to censor you. So don't get upset with us yet. Give us some time. Wonder how much time they need. Maybe till November 6, 2024. Think that's enough time? Give them a day or so after the general election in November. You think they can get it done by then? Now, this comes after we had quite the discussion about Google as they've come under fire after users noted that its autocomplete function in its search engine failed to generate results for the Trump attempted assassination when prompted to do so. I did this myself. Many of you have because you have shared it with me via text and via emails. Now, a couple of you have challenged me saying that I had spread misinformation until I sent you my screenshot. Then I think you believe me. I wasn't saying that you didn't completely get information on the Trump assassination. What I was saying is Google made it hard for you to get that information. Google did not offer you suggestions like they so often do. GOP lawmakers are saying they're going to investigate Google and its subsidiary or its parent company, Alphabet Inc. Donald Trump Jr. blasted Google, accusing it of putting its thumb on the scale to favor his father's opponent, Kamala Harris. Trump Jr. said it was intentional election interference. He said big tech is trying to interfere in the election again to help Kamala Harris. We all know this is intentional election interference from Google, truly despicable. Now, again, a Google spokesperson told the New York Post that this was a mistake. Didn't mean to do it. Forgive us, please. You buying it? I don't think so. Big tech is there. Big tech is going to try to influence this election if they can. Whether you're replacing a broken appliance or maybe you're just upgrading, you're totally remodeling the kitchen, when it's time to get those new appliances, when you're ready for them, you don't want to have to wait weeks or even months to get started using them, right? Well, that's not the case when you shop with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse. With over 11,000 square feet and 1,500 appliances at any given time, you can buy today and use today quite often. I'm talking about shopping with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse in Pickens. It's worth the short drive over to Pickens. Jeff, Johnny, Kyle, the whole team over there, they'll take good care of you. They have an award-winning service department, expert installation, extended warranties, and at Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they treat you like family. You're more than just a credit card swipe to all the team over there. Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they're proud to offer Speed Queen, the only washer and dryers with manufacturer's warranties that cover parts and labor. You owe it to yourself if you're looking for a new appliance to head over to Pickens to Discounted Appliance Warehouse online at dawpickens.com, dawpickens.com. New text between members of the Beaver County Emergency Services in Pennsylvania showed just how understaffed they were ahead of the rally for President Donald Trump earlier this month when the would-be assassin shot him, killing a spectator, wounding 2 others. In a discussion between team leaders at the emergency services who were requested to assist with the rally in nearby Butler County, where the event was taking place, several unnamed people discussed their lack of available workers. And we know this because of screenshots of these text messages. According to one leader, his team was busy and could not work the rally, remarking that everyone else is either working, on vacation, or out hurt. These text messages were provided to Fox News Digital by the office of Senator Chuck Grassley. The senator's office revealed an overview of all records received by Grassley regarding the attempted assassination, and he distributed these yesterday. Text messages between the team leaders of the Beaver County Emergency Services Unit showed that they were asked to assist the Butler County Security Detail. A message was sent to team leaders on July the 8th asking who would be available to help for the July 13th event. A text to the leaders read, "It is probably going to be a 12-hour detail. Right now I'm looking for 6 guys available. If absolutely needed, we can split the shift." At one point, someone said they may tell Butler County, where Trump's rally took place, that the emergency services from Beaver County may need to be on call instead. So clearly, there was an issue with staffing that day. And this seems to be an issue that has been witnessed around the country at other events and with the Secret Service in general. According to a report in the state newspaper, last year when Donald Trump came to Pickens, South Carolina, they were asked for additional Secret Service for that event as well, and it was denied. More on that in just a moment. As the state did some investigation themselves, and the state newspaper talks about the fact that state and local agencies in the Midlands has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars assisting the Secret Service when the president and vice president and former President Donald Trump visited the Midlands in the 13 months leading up to South Carolina's presidential primary earlier this year. The Secret Service reliance on local agency, of course, has come to light since the rally in Pennsylvania went south upon the attempted assassination. The Midlands is no stranger to hosting top presidential candidates in South Carolina, holding early presidential primaries for both Democrat and Republican parties. There was a number of visits from January 2023 through February 2024, according to the state newspaper. President Joe Biden, First Lady Jill Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and former President Donald Trump collectively had 12 trips to the Midlands of South Carolina, which included arrivals at Columbia Metropolitan Airport. Even though local agencies wouldn't reveal specific tactical measures, visible measures included assisting with traffic control. They often led the motorcade. They would set up a perimeter of security and even some on-site security during an actual event. Kyle McGahee, spokesman for the Department of Public Safety in South Carolina, said, "We may also provide civil emergency response teams, which can change based on the location and the number of resources needed." Those Midlands Visits included Trump's appearance at the South Carolina State House, the South Carolina GOP Silver Elephant Gala, and the Clemson University of South Carolina football game in November, and Trump's trips to South Carolina for a black conservative event and primary night watch party on the same weekend. The Department of Public Safety was on site with its Bureau of Protective Services for Donald Trump's visit to the State House with support from the Executive Protection Detail charged with protecting Governor Henry McMaster and Lieutenant Governor Pamela Abbott. Harris's visit included her promoting broadband investment during a trip to Benedict University in February of 2023, delivering President Biden's paperwork to appear on the South Carolina Democrat presidential primary ballot back in November, and she made remarks at the annual King Day at the Dome festivities in January. Biden attended the South Carolina Democrat Party dinner a week before the Democrat primary at the state fairgrounds, and a visit to Flex Ltd. In West Columbia to promote his economic initiatives in July of last year. During Biden's remarks at the SCDP dinner, he was interrupted several times by demonstrators who forcibly were removed because of the interruptions. According to records provided to the state newspaper and reported by the state, in visits to the Midlands, the Department of Public Safety spent around $99,000 to secure events for the Bidens, for Ms. Harris, and for President Trump in the year 13 months leading up to the presidential primaries. The city of Columbia, according to the breakdown, spent $270,000 assisting with security and logistics. When Trump attended the University of South Carolina versus Clemson football game, according to the two reports, USC spent an additional $6,800 on security compared to any other nightly football game last year. Mr. McGay, he said, anytime a president, former president, or presidential candidate visits South Carolina, the U.S. Secret Service asks state and local law enforcement agencies for assistance, as this is a matter of national security. In response, we coordinate, and the key word there is coordinate, with our state and local law enforcement agencies to provide the services requested by the Secret Service. Now, this is where the Secret Service has come under fire because we learned over the weekend when this group from Beaver County, Pennsylvania, the SWAT team, said that they were never consulted prior to the president being shot. They were only consulted with after the attempt on the president's life. They said that Secret Service had promised them a briefing that never happened. So it's kind of hard to coordinate services if you're not communicating, right? Now, according to the state newspaper, despite the cost of these visits, the Department of Public Safety and Columbia Police are not reimbursed. Now, you would think that either the federal government or in the case of someone like President Trump, where it's a somewhat private event or campaign event, that the campaign would reimburse. State law also prevents the Department of Public Safety from charging for assisting with a Secret Service event, according to the state, which is a surprise to me. McGahee said these services are provided as a necessary component to ensuring public safety in South Carolina. Part of the agency's mission is to provide protection and maintain safety for our citizens and visitors. With any of these or other events that request our assistance, the agency would not seek reimbursement. Ahead of these events, Secret Service, along with local fire marshals, police departments, and other state law enforcement agencies, will walk through sites, determine who will be allowed, where to make sure that everyone is on the same page. And this is what I witnessed somewhat before the Pickens visit. As I was going to be broadcasting from there, I was involved in a couple of meetings prior to the visit when with the police chief and with other elected representatives showing me where I could set up and what the parameters would be. And they did this with all of the groups who were involved with this. According to the state newspaper, with multiple agencies working events, agencies having different radio systems on different channels, each event has a central location where representatives of different agencies are located. Again, I saw that in Pickens as a vacant, I think it was a bank building previously, was used by the Secret Service as that command post. So ahead of Trump's appearance at the USC Clemson game, the school and Secret Service spent a holiday week preparing for the visit, which included Trump sitting in a VIP box, walking through the concourse to hand out popcorn, and briefly walking onto the field to the 25-yard line during halftime. I was there. I saw it. The visible measures included having metal barricades to line the path in the concourse where Trump handed out popcorn, and there was additional police lining the barricades and SLED agents around the field throughout the evening. So this is just a little taste of how this happens. Now, since the Secret Service has been under increased scrutiny after the security lapse in Pennsylvania, they're reviewing some of these previous visits. According to the Washington Post, Trump's security detail had asked for additional resources for a rally in Pickens in July of 2023, the one that I'm talking about, the one that I attended, but the request was denied by Secret Service headquarters, and additional counter sniper teams were provided by local resources. So I'm assuming that's either the county sheriff's office in Pickens, potentially other surrounding counties, Greenville, Oconee, maybe Anderson County, but other local resources had to provide that. Ms. Cheadle, before she resigned, said that the Secret Service needs about 9,500 employees to carry out its mission, but only 8,000 people are presently employed by the Secret Service. So I guess their excuse is that they're understaffed, that they don't have the staff to provide the security that they're tasked with doing. Hope you'll join the conversation today. 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Send your comments to the Furman Ford text line. You can leave a quick voice message, and your emails are always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. On the text line, Christy says, DuckDuckGo is better than the communist Google, but it's hard to trust any of them these days. This is in reference to our conversation yesterday and then again today about Google and Facebook and social media in general. In this case, DuckDuckGo is an alternative web browser and search engine that is a competitor to Google. DuckDuckGo does not track what you're doing, though. Susan also says, this is the result I got searching for DuckDuckGo. All I had to do was type in TR and assassination attempt on Trump, and here's the results. And she posted a screenshot of multiple options. And DuckDuckGo, unlike Google, did offer you some automatic options there. They did their autofill worked, whereas Google was suppressing theirs. Mike writes, "You were right, blank, no results at all." And he showed his screenshot of his Google search. Texter Jennifer says, "We were two good minds working together. You said last Friday that we need to educate voters regarding the differences between the two candidates. I had just been thinking the same thing," Jennifer says. I agree as well that the place to begin with is the border crisis. People who need to be informed are often people who are just tired of listening to all of the noise. I think we need a format that is not just a battle of words, but instead a battle of basic facts. Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate your comment. Faye writes, my goodness, Joey, today's news worse than yesterday. Israel facing attacks worse than ever, and old Biden, Obama, wants its hands on the Supreme Court. Yes, he does. And Dems funding Iran to come here and attack us seems evil on all sides. We must pray without ceasing and vote, vote, vote. You're so right with that, Faye, as well. Your comments are welcome as well. Love to get your text messages, emails. Welcome, Joey at joeyhudson.com. One final thing. Did you happen to see the story where Old Glory will have to be born in the land of the free and not merely flying over it? Congress has passed a proposal that requires the federal government to purchase only American flags that have been completely manufactured here in the U.S. The U.S. imports millions of American flags from overseas, and I didn't recognize this. I didn't realize this. Of course, I guess I should have known. They're mostly coming from China. Now, think about the irony there, that the China makes most of our American flags, that more American flags are imported from China than any other country. Sponsors of the proposal said that it's time for American flags to originate in the country they represent. Supporters of the proposal, led by Republican Senator Susan Collins of Maine, Democrat Senator Sherrod Brown of Ohio, said that the change is more than just symbolic. They believe that it's going to support American jobs and manufacturers while preserving the nation's most recognized banner. Again, I never thought about this before. It's a great idea, though, isn't it? Would you pay a little more for an American flag knowing that it was made here in the States? Because they're probably going to cost more, because everything from China is cheap. Senator Collins said the American flag serves as a symbol of our identity, resolve, and values as one people. To honor its significance, the federal government should only use flags entirely manufactured in the United States. Also, supporters of the proposal said yesterday that they expect the measure to be signed into law soon, that it was sent to President Biden last Thursday. Surely Biden wouldn't veto something like this, would he? I don't think so. Federal rules currently require the government to buy flags that contain half U.S.-made materials, supporters of the proposal said. And think about that. What sense does that make? And how would you verify that the flags contain half U.S.-made materials? The rule change is called the All-American Flag Act, requires government-purchased flags to be produced entirely with American-made materials as well as manufactured in the U.S. This should be a no-brainer. How we got off on buying a bunch of cheap Chinese-American flags to begin with, I'll never know. And I'm going to start checking the country of origin when I purchase another flag. The value of the U.S. flag imports in 2015 was just over $4 million, according to federal data. And evidently, that's the latest data they have, which is about 10 years old. The vast majority of those imports, again, came from China, according to supporters of the rule changes. In 2017, the U.S. imported some 10 million American flags. 99.5% of them came from China, supporters said. Those figures include all American flags imported into the country and not just those purchased by the federal government. So again, this won't necessarily affect how you or where you purchase your flags from. There'll still be some cheap Chinese knockoffs of the American flag here. It's just our federal tax dollars will not be purchasing them anymore. Our federal tax dollars will only purchase Old Glory, who is born and bred right here in the United States. Senators Collins, Senator Brown have been pushing for the American flags to be manufactured in the U.S. for several years now. Previous efforts to change the rules requiring U.S.-made flags found success in the U.S. Senate, but was always defeated in the House of Representatives. I bet AOC and some of her progressive buddies over there were the ones who were opposing it. Why would you oppose having a flag made here in the U.S.? Never understand that. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined our mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Just click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, find me on YouTube. Be sure and like, subscribe, follow me on my YouTube channel. Just search for Joey Hudson. Appreciate you spending a few minutes of your day with me. Be sure and forward this edition of Just the Truth to some friends. Just click on the share button. Send it to a few of your contacts, because if we're going to build our community and if we're going to win in November, we got to build an army of conservatives. The way we beat Joe Biden is through educating people, and no better way than encouraging them to listen to Just the Truth. Hey, keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Your emails always welcome as well. Joey@joeyhudson.com. Don't forget to take advantage of the MyPillow special, $25 for the My Towels 6-piece towel set when you use promo code Joey. Just go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. We're back again tomorrow. Hope you will be too. Remember, God's got this. He's still in control.